Welcome back, everybody. I'm Sean LaFlock. I'm here with Scott Hagnes. This is Conversations, Fitness, Wellness, and Longevity. Actually, welcome back, everybody. I'm Sean LaFlock. I'm here with Scott Hagnes. This is the Fitness, Wellness, and Longevity podcast. Scott, how goes it?
Hey, it goes pretty good.
I almost blew it today, Scott. I almost did.
That was, good recovery.
Okay. Scott, we are in week 4 of the CrossFit Open. To keep everybody up to speed, this week's workout was something different than maybe we've done before.
I don't recall anything quite like this.
Yeah, we put a big fat rest in the middle of a workout, and we said we're going to put a time cap on this thing. So the workout itself was 3 rounds of 10 power snatches, 12 burpees over the bar, 95, 65 respectively for the gentlemen and the ladies. And as for the second part of the workout, after a 3-minute rest, you did 10 bar muscle ups and 12 burpees over the bar once again, and there was a 12-minute time cap on this workout. So standard game of, way of going about this, Scott. Scott, what were your first impressions when you saw this workout?
Well, my first impression was I called that exactly, almost not the 3-minute rest, but
yep, I called it.
Refer back to last week, but
yep.
After that, I was like, well, the 3-minute rest was interesting. I kind of like it because it makes you push that front end one hard in order to try to preserve enough time to get something done in the second one or to complete it, depending on your level of ability. And I thought that it was kind of nice for folks that are kind of on the cusp. They can do bar muscle ups, but maybe they're not like awesome at them. Rather than finishing your last burpee of the first and then going straight over and attempting a bar muscle up, you actually have 3 minutes to recover. So it's a lot of people got a little more success. And so as far as just a fun gym environment, I think it definitely helped deliver that and a little more success on the bar muscle ups than maybe otherwise in typical open WODs.
Yep. Yeah. At first glance, I was like, wow, that's 30 bar muscle ups.
A lot of bar muscle ups in there, yeah.
So, so that's the first thing I looked at. And obviously, I would much prefer 30 bar muscle ups than 30 ring muscle ups. But it was a task priority workout, which is, I love that. AMRAPs are just miserable. But it's cool to see a task priority workout in this. In the open, I always like to see
we don't see them too often in the opens, and
the other aspects about it, I knew this was going to be, you got to go fast. This is one of those workouts that you can't take your time very much, because if you do, the workout's over. And the fact that you are there is a time cap on this workout makes it even more challenging. So definitely have an appreciation for this workout. I did do the workout, but before I reveal how I did, I want to kind of go into the aspects of this workout that you think are important, Scott, and how you would strategize in a workout like this, given a skill level of that moderate to advanced CrossFit athlete. Obviously, someone who has proficiency in bar muscle ups but wants to maximize their score.
So, we're going to assume they're pretty proficient already. Is that kind of the...
Yes, yeah. It's not like they're going to get up there and pray for a bar muscle up, though we could perhaps, obviously there's a strategy about going about that too, if you want to talk about that also.
Yeah, no, that's interesting because, I had some of those going for sure. But, this is obviously a volume workout. The biggest limiter, I would assume for most, would be their ability to keep stringing those the bar muscle ups together. Is the snatches shouldn't be a problem for anybody that's at that level. However, pacing potentially could possibly be that first workout. Has got to be a Fran type effort almost if you're going to expect to. That was one of the first things I saw. I was like, this has got to be pure kind of very anaerobic effort through that. So needing to have that requisite level of power output ability, but more importantly, the ability to recover from it. because that's one issue is you do good, you get a good tie break, you finish that first little couplet, but then you're smoked, and you can't get back under yourself enough to do much with that second one, even though maybe you can do bar muscle ups really well. That's of course a long term training strategy there.
Yeah.
And as far as the bar muscle ups, if you knew, we're not necessarily going down the 6-month rabbit hole yet here, are we?
Not just yet.
Yeah.
But just
so
in terms of
I'll save that one.
This workout.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe I got a little off track there. Sorry.
No, that's good, man. I mean, hey, I know you're nipping at the bud, ready to go after how we're going to train this thing. But and we usually don't talk about exactly how you would go about this workout. But how about this guy? Like, if you were going to go about this workout, how would you treat this?
Well, I know that I would need to go fast through the first part, but
to give yourself enough time for the second part?
To give myself enough time. Yep. However, I know that for me, I would have to stay back of a certain threshold because I will not be ready to go in 3 minutes if I push a certain pace.
Yeah.
With that said, I have found personally, and with some others, that I wouldn't use all nasal breathing on an effort like that, but the more I can do it to the extent that I can, I'm going to have better diaphragmatic positioning. I'm going to expend less total energy, and the cost on me will be slightly less. And that will be is a way, kind of a built-in regulator that you only if someone is experienced with it that can kind of find that pace for you a little bit. And then the second part, bar muscle ups in my shoulder is never liked very much. So what I would do there, of course, wouldn't necessarily, it would be get them done as efficiently, and I would have to do them in small sets just because the big kip is something that my shoulder is just not happy doing. But
yes.
But working on it, yeah, the smoother and the less they have to be muscled. So making them a bit more like a glide kip without turning it into a no rep.
Yep.
Was how I would personally do them.
Yep, definitely. So looking at this workout for an athlete like me, so I'm trying to be as objective as possible, and I would look at this workout and say, okay, I need to go as 95% and 95% and really just recover, and kind of knowing how hard you can go and how long it's going to take you to recover, and how bad the next part of the workout is going to be relative to the effort that you do. So I've done so many workouts at this point that I have to then kind of put my brain back together in a short amount of time and put forth an effort, whether it be a max clean and jerk, a max clean. So I've done this enough times to trust myself to know that, like, okay, I know this is how this is going to feel. And I know that after 3 minutes, I'll be back to 90%. And I think 90% is good enough for what I'm going to need to do going forward. Now, that being said, if this was something more complex or had, again, another metabolic demand that was congruent with the first metabolic demand, i.e. 1K row, rest 90 seconds, 1K, right? Or 500 meter, rest 90 seconds, 500 meters. I would go about this a lot differently because there's some complexity, because the power output isn't going to be nearly as high. I could manage those variables fairly well for what my fitness level is right now, which is just basically doing classes and relying on my experience and my technique.
Right, that is true. 3 minutes is pretty generous compared to what we have seen in. There was some workouts where you had to rest if you've completed the work to get the next time frame. But even then, it was probably not much more than a minute rest, if I remember right.
Oh yeah.
Or
or
at
least to get started, you got to start moving.
Yeah, or like the optathlon, right? I think you mentioned there the 90-second row rest between the 500s.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's definitely, and you're right. The lower power output in the second one, as long as you can sustain the movement, it's more manageable than the first part for sure.
Yep, most definitely. So I got a time of 11:39 on this workout.
Mm-hmm.
So my first part was done in 3:42, which kind of was what I was thinking of. I was like, all right, I'll probably finish this thing in under 4 minutes, and then give myself another, about 6 minutes or so to do the second part of the workout, 30 bar muscle ups and 36 burpees over the bar. Now, for me, I'm not trying to win anything. I'm not trying to qualify for anything. I just wanted to finish the workout. So
Sure, yeah.
I didn't really try to do anything that was going to push me metabolically, where I would be like, yo, I'm afraid of missing a bar muscle up here. That being said, I started the second part of the workout off with 10 unbroken bar muscle ups, and then did the 12, and then did 6 and 4 from then on out.
Oh, wow.
So in the second part of the workout, I started at the 3:42 mark and ended up at the 11:39 mark. So the second workout, I started at the 6:42 mark, ended up at the 11:39 mark. So that's 4:07. Is that 4:37?
I think so. I'm trying to
4:27?
visualize numbers in my head here. Yeah, somewhere.
So to get to 6 to 11, that's 4, and then 5. Sorry, that's 5 minutes, and then I started at 42 and ended up at 39. So less than 5 minutes for the second part of the workout.
Yeah.
The 30 bar muscle ups and 36 burpees over the bar. I would say that's just as good as I'm going to do. Like maybe if I were to redo it and I'm confident in this and that, I improve by, let's say, 20 seconds. For me at this point in my life, I'm just going to give forth the best effort, learn, and be able to kind of pass on my knowledge to my athletes so that they can maximize their scores.
Yeah.
And in terms of pacing this out, definitely doing it in 2 sets for the bar muscle ups is probably better off. I think maybe doing that first set of bar muscle ups may have made me spill over a little bit, but I had no reason to go hard on the burpees in the first couple of rounds, because I knew it's about the bar muscle ups and being able to get back to the bar muscle ups relatively quickly. And that's just what I did. I didn't really go too fast on the burpees because I know I wasn't going to make my money there. It was more about making my money on the burpees, the bar muscle ups. So that's where I spent most of my efforts. If you can't do big strings of bar muscle ups this workout, you're not finishing it. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah, and on the first part of the workout, I broke up the power snatches into 2 sets each time, just because barbell cycling is not what I've been working on whatsoever. So just to minimize overall fatigue and give myself a little bit of less tension, that's kind of where
Yeah. Just that little bit of blood flow in from.
Yep.
Just
like
kind of
release
5.5 or do you like a 6.4?
Yep. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, overall, it was fairly painful, but it was paced pretty much perfectly. I eked out that last one. One thing that I told all my athletes afterward is be prepared for a huge chest pump, because those bar muscle ups start getting more challenging and you have to dip out, and you're not dipping out in a vertical position. You're in more of a horizontal position, and then doing the burpees, you just get smoked.
Yeah, good point.
My chest was destroyed. So I've been working for the last 4 days to restore some shoulder range of motion.
Oh, man.
Right here.
Yeah, there you are.
But you know what, though? I think this was a really good test. And once again, I don't think that there are any outliers that are just going to smash world-class CrossFit athletes here. It's just not going to happen.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's good. It's got a little balance there, kind of a lightweight. But if you're not really strong, it's not going to move that fast. And then you have the gymnastic component in there. So again, favoring probably smaller athletes, but not entirely.
Yep. So we definitely saw that the first 2 weeks? First 2 weeks, it favored larger athletes, and as we get closer and closer to the finish of the Open, we're more balanced to smaller athletes, or specific body types of athletes, especially with the handstand push-ups last week, and now we have bar muscle-ups this week, which are the gymnastics was very heavily weighted when it came to overall outcome of the workout. So we'll talk more about what we're going to see next week, but let's go into our next component here, Scott. 6 months out, we're going to be doing a workout that has bar muscle-ups, power snatches, et cetera, et cetera. Let's train this athlete, and let's start off with an athlete who is that I'm going to get to the bar muscle ups, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to finish the athlete.
Okay, so this would do a pre-test. So similar theme to other weeks. So we've got a test of the actual workout, and then I would test not unlike what we did with handstand push-ups, come up with some metrics on the bar muscle-ups just to see where we stand as far as what can someone do in an unbroken set, and
Yep.
then choosing a rep count that's realistic for the athlete to achieve.
Yep.
10 for time, 20 for time, 50 for time, and depending on the level of the person. And those will be some metrics. So then it's skill, getting proficiency, having them in training scenarios on a very regular basis. The other limitation, of course, could be aerobic power, which is going to be heavily needed for this workout. And doing quite a bit of training of that, kind of in a similar manner to what we've done in the past. Maybe starting with cyclic modalities 6 months out, and moving to more mixed modal modalities, and then introducing more specific elements to where you're actually seeing these three movements in those more and more and more.
Yep. I definitely agree that I think one of the biggest components of this workout is not only just bar muscle-ups, but bar muscle-ups under fatigue. So I think that looking at the quality of movement toward later in the sets, if you were doing something like a 30 muscle-ups or a 50 bar muscle-ups for time, just seeing what the quality of movement becomes as you get further and further into fatigue, because I think that is going to be a big indicator of what you're going to look like in a workout like this.
Right, yeah, that really observing there to find out what limiters could be. Which end of it is it? Is it the power of the kip goes away? Is it the pressing strength that becomes an issue?
Yep.
Because as you noted, the combination with the burpees is pretty potent. So pushing endurance and that's probably one of the more important assessments you could actually do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure.
And you may see some range of motion limitation, either shoulder flexion, but also internal rotation is big to be efficient on bar muscle ups too. So that might be something that would need to be addressed in the early part of the training process too, if some of those issues. So I've definitely seen athletes that can do some bar muscle ups, but they're getting around core movement, ability.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's important, is that isolating what it is that is preventing you from maximizing your efficiency on the bar muscle-ups. And I agree that internal rotation and overall ability to flex the shoulder it prevents a lot of people from getting a good solid kip here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And we'd be remiss not to mention, obviously, that the mechanics of the snatch and, do they have good mobility to make that an easy movement? Nobody's going to be squatting that at least, so it's less of an issue. But that would need to be looked at and addressed. But I'm just sort of assuming that if this person is at that level, they probably have fairly decent technique at 95 pounds on a snatch. But
I think you're
but
right.
It could be.
And maybe just getting some touches on some barbell cycling just to make sure that is there. So
definitely training, becoming efficient at that. At different levels of fatigue, etc.
Yep.
But also looking at a lot of snatches at 95 pounds for what breaks down on technique, because I don't think anybody's 30th snatch looked anything like their first snatch in this workout.
Yeah, seriously.
So there's a lot to be learned from what snatches 27 through 30 look like, or snatch 10 and snatch 20 too, also.
Yes, exactly. So let's take a look at the. Obviously, that was a male athlete we're kind of going after. Is this a workout that necessarily has that much of a difference for female athletes in terms of the training that you would do?
On this one, not really. I don't think that much. I mean, there could be some upper body pulling strength differences, but I feel like the bar muscle up isn't on the level of challenge for a good female athlete. Isn't on the higher order as some of them. Technique stuff is always it's more of there's more technique than brute strength in it. I mean, you certainly have to have a requisite level of strength, but that's been sort of my experience with the bar muscle up.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's I think ladies in particular for the bar muscle up, I think because they can hold good positions and they have decent shoulder flexion, I think
Yeah.
they are much more close to their male counterparts on this particular movement.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I had a funny. It was a Friday. We had a couple drop-ins from your neck, Florida, your neck of the woods. It's from Florida. We're here.
Oh, nice.
And the one gal was very strong, but she never had done a bar muscle up, and so we're like, oh, hop up there to see what's going on. And I typically find it see it more with men, but I have seen it with women. If somebody's a very strong puller, I think this girl had like 17 strict chins.
Wow.
So they try to pull through the bar. They try to muscle the movement too much is a common flaw. And so we just did a little bit of kip technique work, and boom, got her first bar muscle up.
Nice.
I remember being surprised that she dropped off the bar and basically jumped into my arms to give me a hug. She was so excited. I almost fell over because it was so unexpected.
That's awesome. Good for you, Coach.
But anyway, I think she got quite a few reps in the workout as you unlocked the secret.
That's great. I mean, I remember the challenges I had with bar muscle ups for quite some time, and a lot for me was just the inability to get a good, kip swing, shoulders just bound up, and just getting a lot of lower back extension, and just not being able to piece it together, and using a lot of arms and internal rotation, and not being able to just glide up, and looking at people who I'm like, I know I'm more fit than these individuals, but I'm just like, I just can't put it together. And now it's like a joke. Like I'm, like I said, I started off with 10, and I was like, all right, I was thinking about doing 10 on the next set, but I'm like, I'll just break it up to 6 and 4. So to have that in my back pocket when I know I'm not even that, not that fit anymore, and knowing that my positions are improving so much over time. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So it is really about the ability to get into positions. That's the big deal with those.
Yeah, exactly. So that is, week 4 for everybody. That being said, Scott, we are up to week 5, and I think we both know that the elephant in the room is standing there waiting for us to talk about it. And we have 2 movements left, chest to bar pull-ups and thrusters. Scott, what do you possibly think that they could throw at us that we haven't seen before, or are we going to see a repeat? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, hard to say. I mean, the one workout was a repeat, but not 100% of a repeat. It did have some slight modifications. I mean, you would tend to think that some sort of Fran variant is looming, whether it's one we've seen before or something new. On one hand, we were talking in here, but a strict Fran, given that the main page workouts have become much more strict movement dominated lately. But then was like, well, how would you necessarily judge what a strict chin up is? So that probably maybe won't happen. But wouldn't that be something if we all expect thrusters and chest to bar pull-ups, but we get
L pull-ups and 135-pound thrusters. 21:59.
Awesome. Oh, that would be awesome. L pull-ups and heavy thrusters. That would be so. A thruster pyramid or something like 75-pound thrusters and chin over bar pull-ups, and then 95-pound thrusters and chest to bar pull-ups, and then 135-pound thrusters and L pull-ups. I could be down for that.
I mean, that would be great. What do you think the probability of that happening is, Scott?
Well, since we've never seen an L pull-up, that's like the one CrossFit movement I don't believe has ever been in a CrossFit competition at any level, at any time, even though it's been a staple in CrossFit movements since even before my time in 2002. I don't know if we would see it now, but maybe someday.
Yeah. I'm or at least like an L sit rope climb or something like that. But
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've
Or
done 3, 3, 6, 6, 9, 9, 7-minute AMRAP before, right?
yeah, we've had that.
We've done the unlock where you've done, it was like
Yeah.
2 rounds of 15 and 15, and then if you do that, you get another crack at it.
Yeah, and builds. Yeah, there's that. I mean, there's probably a bunch of other ways you could cook it. But wouldn't that be something if we all expect that and it's, I don't know, deadlifts and
Muscle ups. Ring muscle ups.
ring muscle ups? Or,
Holy shit, people would freaking
Yeah.
jump off the top of their boxes.
yeah, two things that just, neither pull-ups nor thrusters.
Yep.
I mean, there have been snatch-free years. I think there was a couple staple movements that were notoriously absent. Was there a double under free year too once?
Yeah, there's a double under free year. There's a wall ball free year.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, so yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
My money is.
I'm still going with chest to bar pull-ups and thrusters in some capacity.
Yeah, in some weird fashion. But the question is, I mean, I know we can't think of things that are not known, but like in your gut, do you feel like this is going to be something that's repeated, or do you think they're going to get something new?
I think this is going to be new.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess.
I'm
going to go with some Fran variant. Maybe the weights will be different. I mean, I know we had the 100. It was, I think the 3.366 that year. It was 100-pound thrusters, right? Because that was from the first Open, and almost all the weights were unusual, like 140 pounds and not 135 and 120 and not 115.
Yep. Yeah, maybe they change the weight up for this next one, or maybe you can advance to another heavier bar. But
you unlock heavier bars, kind of. But we have already seen that.
Yeah, here's the thing: there have already been progressively heavier bars, but I would like to see something like that. You do Fran with a 95-pound bar, then Fran with a 115, then Fran with a 135. And you just keep going, and if you unlock it under a certain amount of time, you go to the next bar. I think that would be
actually
ridiculous.
Be pretty cool.
That would be cool, and I think that would actually be a really good test for a lot of these guys, because it's not like you can go slow and it would crush people. Like just imagine like you had to do Fran under 4 minutes, and then you unlock a new Fran at the 4-minute mark, and then you have 4 minutes to do 21:59 at 1:15.
And then
after you have 4 minutes, and at the 4-minute mark, you have another 4 minutes to do it 21:59 at 1:35.
Let's just say that was the workout. How far do you think top people would get? Do you have any sense of what? It's hard to say.
I definitely think there's some sickos who could finish the 135 bar.
That'd be gnarly. And then
that's so many
155
pull-ups, too. That's 120
so many
pull-ups.
pull-ups in there. Yeah, you got that many pull-ups. And also that many thrusters by that point.
Wait a second. It's 45 reps, right?
45, so 90, 135.
135 pull-ups in 12 minutes. Yuck. Okay. And then if you made it chest to bar also. Ugh. Not to mention we did bar muscle-ups last week, so people's hands are probably screwed doing twice. Or lats. I mean, legit 60 bar muscle-ups plus warm-ups in, the weekend.
Yeah.
And then coming back and doing chest to bars. Scott, I think it might be, I know it sounds crazy, I think we're going to see a Fran ladder, but with heavier weights.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I think we got the same.
And we'll record it. We'll timestamp this. We're not gonna bullshit this. This is March 18th, Monday. We're not gonna go. Hey, we didn't. No, we said it, and if it's right, we'll put it all over social media.
And the time is 2-something Eastern.
Yes,
right?
It is 2:49 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think it's 11:49 Pacific Coast time. Right?
Yeah.
So let it be said right now, we will be posting this if we are right. If not, you will never hear about this. I'm going to edit out of everything. I think we're good for today there, Scott. Right. You got anything else?
No, that's a good. Can't wait to find out.
Well, this is the end of the Open, and we will definitely do a wrap-up after this week. But
aftermath next time, yeah.
If we need to get to you, Scott, how can we get a hold of you?
I'm Scott at CrossFitPortland.com.
And I'm Sean LaFlock. You can give me a Sean at CrossFit.beach.com. Guys, this is the Fitness, Wellness, and Longevity Podcast. If you like us, please consider subscribing. If you really like us, please rate and review so we can grow the podcast. Scott, I'll talk to you next week, brother.
All right. Talk to you next week.
Later, dude.
Later.
Bye.